Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and page. I greet you according to your time and according to the time you are seeing this video. My people, make una hear wetin dey happen o. Just hear what is happening. That the Senate President's wife have come to say that Natasha must provide evidence of what she said. That she cannot sit back and watch Natasha accuse her husband wrongly, that this sexual accusation and all of that, why would she come out to say that her husband is sexually harassing her, that that is too much, that she cannot stand to watch her, that she must provide evidence. So guys, watch this video.
Senate. The interview follows the appearance of Senator Natasha Akpabio on Arise News, where she accused the Senate president of making inappropriate advances at her during an event in his house in Ikotekmene. But the wife of the Senate president says Senator Akpabio is telling lies against her husband. She describes the Senate president as a disciplined and jovial person who is often misinterpreted.
When I heard the unfortunate accusation, I'll rather call it unfortunate, is very demeaning because that is a family. We knew the husband before the husband married her. We've always known the man. They were very good friends, or they are still very good friends. So I really don't understand where this is coming from. And I believe that for somebody to go and make such an allegation, there must be a discussion at home. There must have been a sanction or an approval. Oh, you're going to say this, go ahead and say it. And if the approval has come from the husband, our friend, I believe that he would have spoken to me because we are close. And then if the wife had complained about such a thing, and he still comes, and it's normal, there is no man you will tell, oh, that the wife will tell, oh, your friend harassed me. I know how you men behave, that will not frown. First of all, the attitude towards the person will change. But his attitude never changed.
Mrs. Akpabio says Senator Akpabio is a content creator and fabricated the alleged incidents in their home in Ikotekmene.
The night of 8th of December, almost all the senators were in Akwa Ibom. And the Senate president is not somebody that is always alone. He's never alone, even when he wants to eat. He will tell me, oh, I'm eating with 10, 15 people. Even if you set food for 10, 15 people and you see 5, he never eats alone. He's never anywhere alone. So, for me, with that number of people, I don't know what and where that conversation could have taken place. Because he is like that. He shows people the house, any visitor. And then he will always take you to the chapel. That is him. At the end of it all, he will show you his chapel. Because in every home, there is a chapel. So I'm always entertaining people whenever he's around. So if the man was walking behind and the conversation was taking place in his presence, he could have heard. Even the body gesticulation could have shown the man that there was something wrong. Security men are always with the SP.
Ms. Akpabio says she will be pursuing a lawsuit for injuries against her and her family.
Like I said before, anybody can accuse anybody of anything. The main thing is, are you telling the truth? Are you truthful about this? She is not a young woman. I'm not a young woman either. So there are certain lies at our age that we shouldn't tell. In the past, we've allowed people to get away with a lot of things. And he will always tell me, if you can't stand the heat, leave the kitchen. I'm here to serve my people. They will throw mud at me. I said, but this mud is becoming too much. Why can't you do something? So I'm now the one going for a legal address. I would say that even the Senate president attended their wedding and spent not just one night. How many nights? 2 nights. When they had the first birthday of their son, I was there. So I will not be able to tell you at what point did the relationship got so sour to the point of alleging sexual harassment.
The wife of the Senate President, Akpabio, there, bearing her heart. Right, let's bring in Senior Advocate of Nigeria and former President of the Nigerian Bar Association, Monday Ubani. Thanks for joining us. You were with us earlier in the week on other matters. Now it's a different kettle of fish entirely. So now let's, look at these allegations. It was quite explosive watching Natasha, Senator Natasha Udwanga, on the morning show today, where she reeled out quite a number of allegations. The sins of Akpabio, if you permit me to put it that way. Number one, unwelcome sexual advances. Number two, obstructed her legislative work, after she rejected him. And three, deliberately blocked her motions from being heard, especially on investigating the Ajaokuta, steel company. Well, all of this actually started over the issue of the Senate seat. And here we are.
Yeah.
What do you make of this?
We must give context. Let's give context.
Yeah.
As you rightly pointed out. First and foremost, thank you for having me. It was issue of seat reallocation, and which we have heard from Senator Ireti, that 4 times now her own seat has been changed and nobody heard anything from the Senate. I think this is the first time they are changing the seat of Senator Natasha. And you saw what happened in the House that day. There was a senator that read the Red Book and said, this is the provision of the Red Book, that for you to be heard, you must move to the seat that is allocated to you. So one would have thought that she will, and then probably raise her concerns because she has a right to be heard. It's important. But she refused to. And then according to her, I listened to her this morning that many persons came and pleaded with her. And she said she would not budge. One of the worst things that can happen to any man or a woman is that if you don't have any person you listen to, there are certain persons that are very difficult. They will tell you, oh, meet this person. If you go to this person, he will talk to this individual, he will listen. But if you are on earth, neither man nor God can talk to you, then there is a problem. That day, she recounted it here, that she didn't listen to all the people that came and pleaded with her. So she became very riotous. And my own take is that the right procedure? For you, really, you have concerns and maybe you felt that you are aggrieved. Yeah, you have a right of redress.
Speaking of procedure, let me just quickly butt in here.
Yeah,
what exactly is the procedure in the Senate,
Beautiful.
In the Red Chamber,
I agree with you
when it comes to moving the seat of a senator from point A to point B? Would they be pre-advised?
No.
Or it just, they just come to, to the chamber only to realize that their seat has been changed?
There has been the procedure. If you look at section 6, 1 and 2, it says the president has that right to reallocate. It's at his own discretion. And they have even stated the reason why they had to do that reallocation. And so when she came, first of all, when you enter into the Senate chambers, you look for where your name is, because at any point in time, it could be rearranged. And then you find your name, then you now sit down there. So when she came, she went straight to where she was sitting, and somebody came to point out to her, oh, madam, this is no longer your seat and all that. And she was making a fuse. And there were some students that were there in the hall and all that, and they were not until the Senate president walked in. And then proceedings started. And then I think it was a minority whip that actually read the rule and said this is the right thing. And so the president, I really agree that move to your seat. Then if you have any concern, then you can raise it from that, because that is the rule. There is no any provision for prior notification. It's not there in the rule. I have gone through the rule 6, 1 and 2. There is no issue of informing you in advance. Now she was very riotous, and everyone saw that. So my take is that there was a similar incident, with Senator Akpabio when he was in the House.
Yes, and the videos.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Immediately that scenario and proper explanation was done to the senator, the most distinguished. He came back and said, "Gentlemen, distinguished senators, I'm very sorry." And that was sign of humility. So I would have expected that, look, with these things that happen with Akpoti being a first timer, others have come to her and said, this is correct situation, you went wrong, you went overboard. She would have done that the following day, say, I'm sorry. But the next thing she did was going to barricade a radio. Again, that is an issue. Then the next one yesterday, all of us were, hearing from her platform, that she's going to appear in your television, and everyone was thinking that she's going to talk about the issue of her behavior in the house. That was what I was expecting. But the next thing we heard was the issue of sexual harassment, and there is no connection between what transpired with the issue of rearrangement of a seat and this sexual harassment that, according to you, took place in 2023.
However,
Yes.
Senior Advocate, this is where we have found ourselves.
That's right.
Sexual harassment. Given the gravity of these allegations,
That's right.
Should the Senate President be speaking? Should he be responding? We've heard from his media aide.
That's right.
But should he be speaking? And what are the laws in Nigeria really regarding sexual harassment in workplaces? And when it involves, senators and the most powerful number 3 citizen of a country.
Now, we heard it from her wife, and their wife who, the greatest and the nearest person to you in life is your spouse, your wife, or your husband. Says, my husband respects women. You remember that this man had been a commissioner, had been a governor. This man had been a minister, had been a senator, now has come back again as a senator, now Senate president. And in all these positions this man had held, being governor of a state, no woman have ever made any allegation of any sexual harassment. As a minister, as a senator.
One as
He's
a
been accused
minister.
before.
That's Mrs. Joy. Of course, you know the story and all that.
From the NDDC,
and now, if you make an allegation, you must provide evidence. Look at the issue of sexual harassment that this woman was talking about today. I was listening.
What does the law say about it?
Well, it's issue of sexual harassment. Of course, if it's proven, of course, there is liability. Of course, we also in Nigerian Bar Association believe that women should not be harassed in their workplace. Are you following me? You should be free as a human being to work in an atmosphere that is free from any harassment. I'm one of the advocates for women rights and liberation and making sure that they work under a very conducive atmosphere. But I'm looking at her story, that you were being chased when you were with your husband. In the house where you have other senators.
We can
because
spend,
a day,
we can actually
it
spend
was
all
a
night,
day, yes.
all night talking
Honestly,
about all of
yes,
those. But I want to ask, I'm
yes.
curious. Yes, I'm sure there's a law, or there are laws in Nigeria that protect women
That's
from
correct.
sexual
That's
harassment
correct.
in the workplace,
That's
specifically in the Senate or the National Assembly.
Everywhere.
We even heard from Ireti Kingibe say that the Senate wasn't always gender friendly, but it's improving now. Are there laws or rules in the Senate or the National Assembly that protect women, being in the minority, extreme minority for that matter, from this kinds of situation?
In fact,
and are they protected, or is this the first time that any female lawmaker would be talking about?
There is a law that
harassment?
is even applicable in a federal, capital territory. In any harassment violence against women, women especially. This issue of sexual harassment, you cannot in any way commit such a crime or an offense and go scot-free. There is a law against it. So, but you must also prove it. It's not a question of, if I have any, slight disagreement with you in a workplace, you now go out and say sexual harassment.
You think she might be weaponizing the
She
whole idea
is weaponizing. There's falsehood, total falsehood in all this. Because look at the put context to it. According to you, this matter was not even related to your husband. Your husband was there, according to you, in the presence of where you were chased, and your husband came and asked you, and you didn't even relate to him.
All right.
Only for your husband to come and hear about sexual harassment on a television.
All right, senior advocate, for want of time, I do apologize.
Yes.
This is the news.
Yes.
It's not a magazine program, and we do apologize for butting in.
Problem.
But you didn't get to my question about
Yeah.
what the Senate president should be doing at this point. Should we be hearing from him? I've had some conversations say perhaps he should step aside for independent inquiries into this gravity of these allegations.
Yes.
He should step aside like we've seen in other jurisdictions.
Yes.
What's the next step for him? What should he be doing?
And this one, it then means that if any person tomorrow just alleges sexual harassment against Mr. Bani, I will step down as a lawyer, I will step down as a senior advocate of Nigeria. You have to provide evidence. For whether the Senate president will respond personally depends on whether he wants to do that. But
We've
as I
heard
speak to
from
you,
his wife
yes,
that
it's
she'll go to
the
court.
closest person
Will
has done
he
that.
be
If you want to hear from him
will he
at
go
any
to the
point in
court?
time, if he wants to,
Right.
because but of course the legal team is considering legal option also. We are also looking at it because it's purely defamatory.
Oh, are you saying you're on the legal team of the Senate
No,
president?
I said the legal team.
A legal
of
team,
course,
okay.
they're all considering whether what she has said is worthy for us to proceed for legal reprieve. Are you following me?
Yes.
But I'm telling you this. Everyone is not happy with the way this woman is trying to destroy an
We've
institution that
Will
is
the
very
ethics
revered.
committee is
Yes.
set up by the Senate?
Yes.
Will they be investigating these allegations
Of course.
alongside
Now,
other?
you must make your petition known. It's important that if you have any allegation, and of course all the senators have said it, there is always, a room for you to ventilate whatever your grievances are, which can be resolved. They look at it and say, oh, you have a right, or what you have said is right. No, has she put up any petition before any committee before now? Has she reported this matter before any police? Even your husband was not made known to. You didn't even reveal this to him. Only because of shit reallocation. You now got so angry now that the next thing you told the entire world, hear me tomorrow. And all of us now got up to hear what transpired in the Senate, only for you to allege
Do you think
sexual
if she had
harassment.
been listened to,
me,
she had been listened to
yes.
under Order 10,
Yes.
which she came under,
Yes.
things would not have gone?
Beautiful. That other tense is subject to you being in the proper seat allocated to you, so that even the privilege you are raising, a motion without being listed, okay, stay there. Express your concern. Mr. President, I just came to the house today. I discovered you have put me in a different seat. What is going on? Can I get... And then you will be heard. But at that point, she was in a wrong seat, and you still insisted on being heard.
For clarity,
we'll have to leave it
Mrs.
there.
Akpabio says she's instituting a legal challenge.
Yes.
Are you saying that the Senate president can also institute, or can she
I'm saying
just go with that?
issue of locus will come in, personal, issue of defamation. If she feels that she has also been defamed, by the statement, because defamation, it must communicate it, it must reduce your, reputation before the ordinary human being in the society.
Right.
If she feels that whatever distinguished Senator Natasha has said has really defamed her as a wife of Senator Akpabio, she has the right of action, and the court will look at all the surrounding circumstances and whatever the facts are in order to say, oh, you deserve to be heard.
All right,
You
we'll
deserve
have to
access.
live it there.
It's
Monday
quite
will be-
unfortunate that
Thank
the
you very
National
much.
Assembly that should be making the laws has been reduced to all of these controversies.
Yeah.
But Senior Advocate of Nigeria, we do thank you for your time
Thank you for
and your
having me.
thoughts on the matter.